Ladies and gentlemen, when God calls you a daughter of fire, He's not describing your temperament. He's revealing your purpose. Fire is not gentle. Fire is not easily contained, and fire does not apologize for burning. You are not here to blend in. You are here to ignite. There's a divine blaze inside of you that was never meant to be hidden under the ashes of fear, shame, or rejection. You were born to carry heat in a cold world. When God formed you, He didn't just breathe life into you. He breathed fire into your spirit. That's why your battles have been intense, your seasons have been hot, and your walk has often felt like walking through flames. Because God wasn't trying to destroy you, He was refining you. He was burning away everything that couldn't carry your anointing. Some of you have been wondering why your life has felt like a furnace, why you've lost people, opportunities, and peace at times. Hear this, the furnace was not punishment, it was preparation. Fire has a purpose, it purifies, it separates, it strengthens. Every fiery trial you've endured was God teaching you how to stand in the heat without melting. You see, fire doesn't retreat, it consumes. A daughter of fire doesn't run from adversity, she confronts it. She doesn't crumble when she's misunderstood. She keeps burning because her light exposes what darkness tried to hide. The flames you faced were proof that God trusted you with pressure. He knew that you would not only survive the fire, but that you would become it. And let me tell you something, the enemy fears a woman who's been through the fire and didn't lose her worship. He fears a woman who can praise with ashes still on her hands, because that woman knows that her scars are evidence, not of destruction, but of transformation. You didn't burn out, you burned brighter. Every time you thought it was over, the fire inside you reignited. Every time someone tried to dim your flame, God breathed again. Because when you are a daughter of fire, you cannot be extinguished. You were designed to blaze in dark places, to light the path for others who are lost, to remind them that what the enemy meant for harm, God used as fuel. So don't apologize for your fire. Don't shrink because others can't handle your heat. You were not made to be lukewarm. You were created to set atmospheres ablaze with faith, courage, and conviction. Your presence shifts rooms, your prayers shift nations, and your obedience kindles revival. When people look at you, they should see evidence of a God who keeps His promises through the flame. Because you, woman of purpose, not ordinary, you are divine heat wrapped in humanity. You are the light in the dark, the warmth in the cold, and the spark in a lifeless generation. So lift your head, daughter of fire. Walk in the power that only comes from surviving the flames. Let your story burn with testimony. Let your passion blaze with conviction. And when the world asks how you're still standing, just smile and say, because God said, daughter of fire. Fire has always been one of the most powerful symbols in creation, both feared and revered. It can destroy, yet it can also refine. It can burn down what is temporary and illuminate what is eternal. When God describes His children as fire, He's not speaking of chaos or destruction, but of divine purpose. Fire in its truest form represents the unstoppable nature of God's calling within you, a force that cannot be contained, controlled, or concealed. When God breathes His Spirit into you, He ignites a divine flame deep within your soul. That flame is not ordinary passion or human ambition. It is heavenly purpose wrapped in mortal flesh. It's what makes you restless for more, what causes you to crave meaning beyond survival, what fuels your determination when everything else says, give up. You are not here by accident. Your very existence is proof that God placed a spark inside you for something bigger than yourself. Think about it. When Moses stood before the burning bush, it was not just an ordinary fire, it was divine fire, a fire that burned but did not consume. That moment represented purpose calling out to destiny. The same is true for you. God allows His presence to ignite within you, not to destroy who you are, to reveal who you've always been. Every time life tries to reduce you to ashes, His Spirit whispers, you are not done. There's still a flame in you that no storm can put out. Fire represents divine purpose because it cannot be easily ignored. When you carry fire, You cannot hide it. It demands attention, it demands space, and it demands transformation. You were never meant to fit comfortably in places that diminish your light. You were never meant to water down your passion just to make others comfortable. You were created to blaze with authenticity, to walk boldly in your anointing, and to let your purpose be seen and felt wherever you go. Here's the truth. Before fire becomes pure, it must go through heat. Before you step fully into your divine purpose, God often allows the heat of trials, heartbreak, and rejection to shape you. Fire doesn't just shine, it purifies. And sometimes that purification process is painful. You may have walked through seasons where everything around you seemed to fall apart, but those weren't seasons of destruction. They were seasons of preparation. God was burning away the impurities that could not go with you into your next level. Your tears, your struggles, your sleepless nights, they were not wasted. They were part of the refining. The same way gold is purified by fire, your character, your faith, and your obedience have been strengthened by the flames of adversity. Divine fire doesn't just make you shine, it makes you true. It burns away the masks, the insecurities, the doubts, and the fears, until what remains is the pure reflection of who God created you to be. Fire also symbolizes passion. Not the fleeting kind that fades with time, but the unshakable kind that keeps burning no matter what happens. Divine purpose is always fueled by divine passion. You cannot fulfill a heavenly calling with earthly motivation. There will be days when no one understands your vision, when doors seem closed, when your strength feels gone. And in those moments, it is the fire of purpose that keeps you standing. It reminds you why you started, who you serve, and what you carry. When you carry divine fire, you walk differently, you speak differently, you love differently. You no longer live to impress people, you live to please God. You understand that your purpose is not about recognition, but transformation. Fire transforms everything it touches, and so does purpose. Every encounter you have, every environment you step into, should be changed because of the light you carry. You were never meant to adapt to the darkness. You were meant to challenge it, to consume it, and to replace it with divine illumination. And yet, being a carrier of fire comes with responsibility. Fire can bless or burn depending on how it's handled. That's why God often matures your spirit before he multiplies your influence. He teaches you discipline in obscurity, humility in success, patience in process. Because if he gives you too much too soon, your fire might scorch instead of shine. Divine purpose requires divine timing. You can't rush what God is refining. There are moments when God will seem silent, not because he's forgotten you, because he's fanning the flames within you. Sometimes he'll withhold answers to make you seek deeper. Sometimes he'll allow isolation so you can discover your own fire instead of depending on someone else's. The silence isn't punishment. It's a sacred space where your inner fire grows stronger. Every daughter of fire must understand this. Your purpose is not in competition with anyone else's flame. The same God who ignited you also lit others for their unique calling. Don't compare your light to theirs. Some fires are meant to guide, others are meant to purify, and some are meant to ignite revolutions. Yours might look different, but it's just as divine. The only thing you must ensure is that your fire never goes out. Guard your flame, feed it with prayer, protect it with purity, fuel it with faith. Because the enemy's goal is not to destroy your life, it's to dim your fire. He knows that once your light goes out, your voice, your vision, and your influence lose power. That's why you must stay connected to the one who started the fire in the first place. As long as you stay in God's presence, your fire will never die out. Your divine purpose is not something you chase. It's something you carry. It's already inside you, burning quietly until it's time to be revealed. Every challenge you face, every lesson you learn, and every tear you shed adds fuel to that fire. And when the time is right, God will release you into environments that need your flame, places where darkness has settled, where hope has faded, where hearts have grown cold. That's where your purpose shines brightest. So if you find yourself walking through fire, don't fear it, embrace it. The same flames that tried to consume you are the very ones God is using to confirm you. The fire is not your enemy, it's your evidence. It's proof that there is something powerful, holy, and unstoppable inside you. You were not created to blend in with ashes. You were created to blaze with glory. Fire doesn't ask for permission to burn, doesn't apologize for its heat. It simply fulfills its nature. In the same way, you don't need permission to walk in your divine purpose. You don't have to explain your fire to those who can't handle it. Just keep burning, keep believing, keep becoming. Because when God calls you his daughter of fire, he's declaring that your purpose will light the way for others. You are the warmth in someone's winter, the spark in someone's darkness, the flame that rekindles hope in hearts that had grown cold. And as long as you carry that divine fire within you, the world will never be the same again. You are fire, refined, radiant, and filled with divine purpose. Let it burn, let it shine. Let it change everything around you. For the fire inside you was placed there by God himself, and that means it can never, ever be extinguished. When life feels like a furnace, when everything familiar begins to melt away, when the heat of hardship burns against your skin, prayers seem unanswered and the pain feels unending, it's easy to think God is angry with you. It's easy to believe the flames are punishment for some failure, some weakness, or some mistake. But the truth is deeper, more divine, and far more loving than that. The furnace is not a symbol of wrath. It is a place of refinement. It's not where God abandons you. It's where he prepares you. Every great calling requires a season of fire. Every vessel of purpose must be proven in the heat before it can carry glory. Furnace is not meant to destroy you. It's designed to shape you. It's where impurities are removed, character is developed, and faith is purified. It's where the things that cannot last are burned away so that only what is eternal can remain. When God allows you to walk through fiery seasons, he is not punishing you. He is perfecting you. He is proving to you what he already knows that you can endure, that you are stronger than you think, that there is more inside you than what the world can see. The heat of adversity does not reveal weakness, it reveals identity. It strips away the superficial layers until only your true self, the one molded by divine design, stands firm in the flames. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego standing before the fiery furnace. To the world, it looked like punishment. To their enemies, it looked like the end. But to God, it was a stage, a divine setup for his glory to be revealed. The fire that was meant to destroy them became the environment that showcased his power. The same will be true for you. The furnace may be hot, the flames may rise, but God has already made a declaration over your life. You will not be consumed. The furnace is where pretenders fall away and authenticity emerges. It's easy to have faith in the cool of the morning. It's the heat of the fire that reveals whether your faith is real. In those moments when nothing makes sense and everything hurts, God is building something in you that can only be formed in fire. He's building endurance, humility, compassion, and unshakable trust. These are not qualities learned in comfort. They are forged in the heat of pain, disappointment, and delay. You see, when God is preparing you for something great, he must first prepare you to carry greatness. He cannot give you influence until your heart is stable enough to handle it. He cannot trust you with power until you've learned how to surrender in the fire. That's why some of the greatest seasons of your life begin with breaking. Because before God multiplies you, he refines you. Before he elevates you, he purges you. Before he blesses you publicly, he tests you privately. Many people run from the furnace because they misunderstand it. They think fire means failure when, in truth, it means formation. You are not being destroyed. You are being defined. You are not losing your life. You are gaining your identity. Every tear you've cried, every door that closed, every betrayal you've endured, they were all part of the preparation process. God was using them to remove your dependency on what's temporary so that you could stand on what's eternal. The furnace teaches you things you can't learn anywhere else. It teaches you how to worship without results, how to trust without clarity, how to love without condition. It teaches you that peace is not the absence of fire, but the presence of God in the middle of it. Everything around you burns, and yet you still have joy. That's evidence of divine preparation. You are being made unshakable, not because you avoid fire, but because you have learned how to walk through it with faith. The beautiful thing about the furnace is that you're never alone in it. Just like the Hebrew boys, there's always another in the fire with you. The presence of God himself, he doesn't send you into the flames to watch you suffer. He walks into them to prove that he's faithful. The fire becomes holy ground because it's where his presence dwells most powerfully. It's where the impossible becomes possible, where fear turns into faith, and where weakness transforms into worship. Maybe you've been through a season that felt unbearable, a loss that broke your heart, a betrayal that crushed your trust, or a delay that tested your patience. You wondered, God, where are you in this? But if you look closer, you'll see that while everything else was falling apart, something inside you was being strengthened. You learned to pray harder. You learned to depend on him more deeply. You learned to stand when you wanted to fall. That was the preparation. That was the fire doing its holy work. Preparation always feels painful because it stretches you beyond what's comfortable. It forces you to let go of what's easy so you can grasp what's eternal. Furnace burns away comfort zones and reveals calling zones. It takes you from I can't to with God. It removes fear and replaces it with faith. It destroys pride and plants humility. It teaches you to depend not on your strength, but on his power. When the preparation is complete, when the fire has done its work, you come out different. You don't smell like smoke. You don't look like what you've been through. You come out refined, radiant, and ready. The same fire that was meant to break you becomes the testimony that makes you. People will look at your life and wonder how you survived what should have destroyed you. And you'll tell them, because the fire was not punishment, it was preparation. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of the furnace that the world needs to meet. A stronger you, a wiser you, a more compassionate you. But she can only emerge through the process of refinement. God is not trying to harm you. He's trying to equip you. He's teaching you how to carry heat without burning out, how to walk in purpose without pride, and how to glow with his glory in a dark world. Don't despise your furnace season. Don't curse the heat. Don't misinterpret the process. The same fire that brings pain also brings power. The same flames that burn away weakness also awaken wisdom. The furnace is not your end. It's your beginning. It's where God molds you into a vessel fit for his glory. When you finally step out of that fire, you'll understand why certain things had to end, why certain people had to leave, and why certain prayers had to be delayed. You'll see that everything was part of the refining plan. You'll recognize that what felt like punishment was really preparation for your promotion. So stand still in the heat. Trust the process. Let God finish what he started, because when you come out of this, you won't just be healed, you'll be holy. You won't just be stronger, you'll be set apart. You won't just have survived the fire, you'll have become the fire. And when people look at you, they won't see a woman who was broken, they'll see a woman who was built in the furnace. They'll see purpose glowing where pain once lived. They'll see faith shining where fear once ruled. And they'll know that your story is living proof of a God who uses fire not to destroy his daughters, but to define them. The furnace was never meant to end you. It was meant to announce you. You were not punished. You were prepared. The flames didn't consume you. They crowned you. You are the evidence that fire in the hands of God is not destruction, but destiny. There comes a time in every woman's journey when she realizes that the very things that once tried to break her have actually built her. The tears she cried were not wasted. They were the water that cooled her after the heat of refinement. The rejection she faced was not meant to crush her. It was meant to carve strength into her soul. The pain that once felt unbearable has now become the proof of her resilience. She has learned that she is forged, fragile. Forging is not a gentle process. It is a deliberate act of shaping through fire, pressure, and precision. Metal does not become a sword through comfort. It becomes one through heat, hammering, and endurance. Likewise, you did not become strong by escaping hardship. You became strong by enduring it. You didn't become wise because everything went right. You became wise because you survived what went wrong. God didn't make you delicate. He made you durable. You are not porcelain that shatters at the first touch of adversity. You are steel tempered in divine fire. When life strikes you, it's not proof of weakness. It's evidence that you're being shaped. Every blow, every disappointment, every delay is the master craftsman molding you into who you were always meant to be. He knows your breaking point, but he also knows your building point. What felt like pressure was purpose. What looked like destruction was design. God never wastes heat. Every ounce of pain has been working together for your perfection. To be forged means you've gone through something and come out transformed. You've walked through heartbreak, but didn't lose your hope. You've faced betrayal, but didn't become bitter. You've stood and in the middle of storms, but didn't stop believing. That is not fragility, that is divine strength. Fragility breaks under pressure. Forging bends, reshapes, and then rises stronger than before. Maybe you thought the pain would end you, but instead it introduced you to power. Maybe you believed that failure would define you, but it only deepened your faith. The forging season feels like loss. It's actually the birthplace of legacy. Every scar you carry is sacred, not a mark of weakness, but a signature of victory. Those scars are the fingerprints of God, proof that He touched your life and brought you through what should have destroyed you. You are not fragile because you cry. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are not broken because you had to start over. Real strength is not the absence of emotion, it is the presence of endurance. The enemy thought the fire would make you quit. All it did was make you glow brighter. You didn't come out of the storm the same. You came out refined, wiser, more powerful, more aware of who you are in God. When God forges you, He is not punishing you. He is proving you. He's proving that you can carry the weight of destiny. He's proving that you can handle responsibility. He's proving that your anointing is not paper thin, but pressure tested. Doesn't entrust fragile vessels with heavy assignments. That's why your journey has been harder than most. He was preparing you for a weight others can't carry. The fire didn't come to kill you, it came to confirm you. There were moments when you questioned, why me? Why this? Why now? But every why was a whisper from heaven saying, because I've chosen you. To be chosen means to be challenged. To be anointed means to be attacked. To be forged means to be tested. But every test has revealed something. Your endurance, your faith, your power, your divine DNA. You are not a victim of the process. You are the product of it. A fragile person depends on external validation to feel worthy. Forged person carries internal conviction that cannot be shaken by opinions. You no longer need everyone to understand your calling because you understand it's not theirs to carry. You've learned that peace doesn't come from people's approval, but from God's information. You've walked through seasons where no one saw your pain. God did, and that was enough. Forged women are built in secret places. They are strengthened in solitude. The world often sees their shine, but not their shaping. They see the crown, but not the cross. They admire the flame, but not the fire. But you know the cost. You know the pain it took to stand here, the prayers it took to keep going, the courage it took to stay faithful when everything in you wanted to quit. That's what makes you unstoppable. You've already survived what others thought would end you. The forging process also teaches surrender. When God puts you in the fire, it's not about your control. It's about your trust. He's not asking you to understand every detail. He's asking you to hold on to His hand. You can't become who you're meant to be if you keep running from the heat. You have to let God do His work. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also necessary. Because without fire, there is no form. Without pressure, there is no power. Without testing, there is no testimony. And when the forging is complete, what emerges is unbreakable. You start to walk differently, not with arrogance, but with authority. You carry quiet confidence because you know who walks with you. You don't panic when life turns up the heat. You've been here before, and you know how to stand. You've learned that the same fire that threatened to destroy you now obeys you. The same pressure that once made you cry now propels you forward. You are not the same woman you used to be. You have been shaped by heaven and strengthened by hardship. When you are forged, you become a weapon of light. You don't just survive the darkness, you pierce it. You don't just walk through storms, you command them to cease. You don't just endure trials, you transform through them. The enemy trembles when a forged woman prays because her prayers come from a place of power. Her words carry weight because they were birthed in the fire. You are proof that God can take ashes and make art. He can take what was shattered and shape it into something sacred. You were not made to be handled delicately. You were made to be used purposefully. You can face battles that others run from because you know your strength doesn't come from you. It comes from the one who refines you. Every time life swings at you, heaven whispers, she can handle it. She's been forged. And perhaps that's why your story carries such glory. You've been through what many couldn't survive, and you came out shining. You've walked through fire, but instead of burning, you've become the flame. You no longer break under pressure. You become pressure. You are not defined by what hurt you, but by how you healed. You are not fragile because you've been forged in the hands of God. And when He forges something, it lasts. So lift your head, daughter of fire. Process didn't destroy you, it discovered you. The blows didn't bruise you, they built you. You are not damaged goods. You are divine craftsmanship. You've been through the furnace, and now you carry the fire. You've been hammered by life, and now you are sharp with purpose. You've been bent by pain. Now you are shaped for promise. You are not fragile. You are the evidence of endurance, the result of refinement, and the reflection of resilience. You were not born to break. You were born to blaze. And every time life tries to test you again, remember this truth. You are forged in fire, fashioned in faith, and fearless in purpose. There is something sacred and unstoppable about a woman who walks in light. She doesn't have to announce her presence. Her very being shifts the atmosphere. The moment she enters a room, truth begins to stir, hidden things begin to tremble, and the shadows that once felt safe begin to flee. She doesn't do this through force or noise, but through the quiet power of divine illumination. Her light exposes darkness. Light doesn't compete with darkness, it simply reveals it. When God places His Spirit within you, He ignites a flame that cannot be contained by fear, shame, or intimidation. That light within you is not just a symbol of hope. It is a weapon of truth. The world may try to silence you. The enemy may try to confuse you, but they can never extinguish what God Himself has kindled. You were not created to hide. You were not designed to blend into the background. You were meant to shine boldly, beautifully, and without apology. Your light is the reflection of divine truth. It exposes lies, uncovers hidden wounds, and reveals the beauty of grace. When you walk in the fullness of who God created you to be, you become a mirror of heaven in a world clouded by confusion. And when darkness sees that reflection, it trembles. Because darkness cannot dwell where light remains. That's why you've felt resistance. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why people have tried to dim your flame. Because your presence disrupts what's hidden. Your anointing makes the enemy nervous. The darkness of this world is not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It hides in fear, in comparison, in self-doubt, in silence. It convinces people to settle for less than their purpose, to believe they are unworthy, to think they are forgotten. But when your light rises, it speaks against every shadowed lie. It declares, you are chosen, you are loved, you are powerful. You may not even realize it, but your life preaches. Your endurance preaches. Your joy in adversity preaches. Every time you refuse to bow to fear, you expose the power of faith. Every time you forgive, you disarm the darkness of bitterness. Every time you love, you destroy the grip of hate. Darkness thrives in silence, but light cannot be quiet. Even a small flame can be seen for miles in a blackened valley. You might think your light is insignificant, but to someone lost in the shadows, it's a beacon of hope. That's why God called you to shine, because someone needs to see your glow to find their way. You are not just surviving, you are guiding. You are not just existing, you are illuminating. Your purpose is not to condemn the dark, but to reveal what light can do in it. When God said, "Let there be light," creation responded. The chaos of the void had no choice but to obey. When God speaks that same command into your life, let there be light in her. Everything attached to darkness must move. Depression has to lift. Confusion has to flee. Fear has to lose its hold, because divine light carries divine authority. You are a carrier of that command. You are not ordinary illumination. You are revelation. You don't just brighten, you transform. But remember, light becomes most visible in the dark. So when you find yourself in difficult places, among broken people, in uncertain seasons, in confusing situations, that's not a mistake. You've been placed there to shine. The darker the space, the brighter your glow. Don't despise your dark seasons. They are the backdrop for God's brilliance in you. If life has led you into a valley, it's because the valley needs light. If you've been sent into a hard place, it's because God trusts your flame to survive and spread. The enemy hates light because light exposes truth. He operates in deception, in secrecy, in fear. But when you walk in your God-given light, you make his schemes visible. That's why he tries to distract you, to exhaust you, to make you doubt your worth. Because a weary woman will dim her own flame. But hear this, your light was never meant to depend on circumstances. Burns from a source deeper than emotion. It flows from divine identity. You shine because God said so, and no opposition can undo his word. When you start walking in your light, don't be surprised if some people fall away. Light reveals intentions. It separates what's real from what's fake. Some connections cannot survive exposure when you carry the glow of truth. People who love the shadows will distance themselves. Don't chase them. You're not losing people, you're losing darkness. You're not being abandoned, you're being aligned. The right ones will recognize your light and rise with it. Your light is also healing. It doesn't just expose wounds, it invites restoration. When you shine with grace and authenticity, you give others permission to be real. You remind them that healing is possible. You teach them that scars can still glow. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more light bearers who aren't afraid to show the cracks that let God's glory through. Your transparency becomes someone else's transformation. Protecting your light is as important as sharing it. The enemy will use distraction to dim your glow, negativity, insecurity, comparison, exhaustion. You must guard your peace the way you guard your flame. You can't allow every opinion, every disappointment, or every criticism to steal your shine. Stay close to your source. Stay prayed up, worship-filled, and purpose-driven. The more you abide in God's presence, the brighter your light becomes. Your light doesn't just expose darkness, it overcomes it. Darkness is not equal to light, it is the absence of it. The moment light appears, darkness loses territory. When you worship in the middle of pain, you reclaim ground. When you speak life in a situation of death, you shift the atmosphere. When you stand on faith while the world wavers in fear, you become a living lighthouse. That's who you are, not just a flame, but a force. You are light for your family, light in your community, light in your generation. You are the reminder that God still moves, still heals, still redeems. Every step you take in faith leaves a glow behind it, a trace of hope for someone else to follow. You might not see the full impact of your light. Heaven does. Angels move when you shine. Chains break when you shine. Hearts heal when you shine, because when God's light flows through you, it carries power. So don't hide your fire to make others comfortable. Don't tone down your truth to be accepted. Don't let fear convince you to dim your radiance. The world doesn't need a quieter you, it needs a brighter you. You were chosen to carry light in a time of confusion, to speak hope when others speak doubt, to glow in a generation that has forgotten what truth feels like. You are not just living in the light, you are the vessel of it. When people encounter you, they should feel warmth, conviction, and clarity. They should sense that something about you carries heaven's glow. That's not pride, that's purpose. You are walking evidence that God still lights fires in human hearts. You are proof that no matter how dark the night becomes, the dawn will always come. So rise, daughter of fire. Let your light blaze without fear. Let your voice echo with truth. Let your life illuminate paths for others who are still stumbling in the shadows. You don't have to fight darkness, just shine. You don't have to force change, just glow consistently, faithfully, and boldly. Because the light in you is not from this world. It's from the creator of light himself. And he never lets his flame go out. When you shine, hell trembles. When you shine, heaven celebrates. When you shine, world shifts. You are not just a spark in the night, you are a revelation of God's glory on earth. So keep shining, keep standing, keep spreading that holy fire. For as long as you live, may the darkness around you never forget your name. Because every time it sees you coming, it knows that light has arrived. There is a divine fire within you, one that cannot be quenched by life's storms, silenced by rejection, destroyed by failure. You carry a flame that comes directly from the breath of God Himself. That fire was placed in you before the foundation of the world, and no force of darkness has the authority to put it out. You may bend, you may break, you may cry, but you will not be extinguished. When God breathed His Spirit into you, He ignited purpose. That spark became your strength, your resilience, your anointing. Over the years, the winds of life have tried to blow it out. Disappointment, betrayal, heartbreak, loss, but somehow you are still here. That's not an accident. That's not coincidence. That's divine protection. Because when God lights a fire, it's eternal. You might flicker for a moment, but you will never fade away. You cannot be extinguished because your fire was born in eternity. It doesn't depend on the approval of people, the comfort of circumstances, or the applause of the crowd. It's fueled by the hand of the Almighty. When others tried to bury you, they didn't realize that seeds only grow in the dark. Every season of pain, every silent tear, every moment of loneliness has been feeding the roots of your calling. What the enemy thought would destroy you has only deepened your flame. There were times when you almost gave up, when you thought the fire was dying out. You whispered prayers that felt unanswered. You carried burdens that no one else could see, and you wondered if your light had any purpose left. But in those moments, God was still watching, still tending the embers of your spirit. Even when you couldn't feel His hand, He was protecting your flame from going out. Same God who lit the bush before Moses without it being consumed is the same God who sustains your fire. You are burning, but not breaking. You are pressed, not crushed. You are refined, not ruined. The world may underestimate you, but heaven knows your worth. The enemy knows your power. That's why he's been trying so hard to silence you. But the truth is, what he meant for destruction, God is turning into fuel. Every attack has become oil. Every trial has become kindling. Every rejection has become oxygen. The very things that were designed to suffocate, you are making your fire spread. You cannot be extinguished because your story has already been written. And victory is your ending. There is a fire inside you that does not go out when life gets difficult. It grows stronger. Like gold in the furnace, you're being refined by what you've endured. Every test is tempering your flame, making it more powerful, more focused, more unstoppable. The fire inside you is not destructive, it's purifying. It burns away fear, insecurity, and doubt until only the essence of your divine purpose remains. Care enough, you've walked through seasons that should have broken you, but instead they built you. The fact that you're still standing is proof that God's power is greater than the pressure against you. People may try to dim your light because they are uncomfortable with your glow. They may misunderstand your passion, your boldness, your confidence. Do not shrink to make others feel safe. Your fire is not arrogance. It's evidence of the divine. It's a signal that you've survived the wilderness, walked through the flames, and come out with a new kind of shine. You don't need validation from anyone when heaven has already approved your existence. Remember this, even when the fire seems small, it is still powerful. Sometimes life will take you through seasons where your flame looks like a flicker. You may not feel as strong, as bold, or as certain, but don't mistake the flicker for failure. A small flame still burns. It still produces heat, still carries the potential to ignite the world. Your power doesn't depend on the size of your flame, but on the source of it. And that source is unchanging, unshakable, and everlasting. You cannot be extinguished because God Himself guards what He has lit. The wind may blow, but it only fans your flame higher. Rain may fall, but it cannot drown what heaven has set ablaze. You are covered. You are kept. You are sustained by divine design. The enemy can't touch what's protected by God's hand. Stop worrying about the opposition. It's only confirmation that you carry something worth fighting for. Every great fire begins with friction. The striking of two stones, the collision of two forces, that's how the spark is born. Likewise, your struggles have created the fire within you. Your trials have produced strength, your losses have birthed wisdom, and your waiting has cultivated patience. You are not broken. You are ignited. You are not fragile. You are not fortified. You have been tried in the fire and proven unextinguishable. Your resilience is not ordinary. There's a divine stubbornness in your spirit, the kind that refuses to quit when everything around you says it's over. That's the mark of someone chosen. That's the evidence of someone anointed. God didn't just give you light, He made you the torchbearer for others. Carry a flame that ignites faith in those who have forgotten their own. You are a walking reminder that survival is possible, that grace is real, and that purpose always outlasts pain. You cannot be extinguished because your life has become a testimony of endurance. The fire you carry is not for decoration. It's for transformation. You walk into rooms and atmospheres shift. You speak truth and chains break. You pray and heaven moves. That's not coincidence. That's divine fire at work. You are not just surviving, you are setting others free. You are not just burning, you are blazing a trail for those behind you. So even when you feel tired, remember fire doesn't depend on feelings. Even when you're weary, you're still glowing. Even when you're unsure, your presence still carries heat. Because your fire is spiritual, not emotional. It's rooted in something eternal. God Himself is the keeper of your flame. You may have lost things, people, opportunities, but you have not lost your fire. As long as you still have that, you still have everything you need to rise again. You are the kind of woman who has been through the storm and still sings. The kind who has walked through for fire and come out refined, not ruined. You have cried, fought, prayed, and persevered, yet your light still shines. That is not ordinary strength, that is divine firepower. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead wells within you, keeping your fire alive. That means defeat is not an option. Extinguishment is not your portion. So hold your head high and let your flame burn freely. Don't apologize for your anointing. Don't hide your strength. Don't shrink to make others feel comfortable. You have survived too much to dim now. Every scar you carry is proof that the fire didn't kill you. It crowned you. You are living evidence that what was meant to destroy you only made you more radiant. You cannot be extinguished, not by pain, not by people, not by the enemy, not even by your own doubt. You were built to last, to endure, to shine. The fire in you is eternal because it came from an eternal God. Rise, flame, bear, stand tall in your light, burn boldly in your truth, and let every darkness that dares approach you remember one thing: you are fire. And you cannot be put out. No matter how strong the storm, how fierce the battle, or how dark the night, you will rise again. Because when God lights a fire, it burns forever. And beloved, you are that fire. You are divine proof that no weapon formed against you will prosper, and no darkness, no betrayal, no failure, and no fear will ever extinguish what heaven has ignited. There is something sacred about a woman who burns with divine purpose. Her fire does not come from ambition or pride. It comes from the presence of God dwelling inside her. Her flame is not for show, it is for illumination. When she walks into a room, the atmosphere shifts. When she speaks, people listen, not because of her volume, but because of her power. Fire carries authority. Her light breaks chains. Her presence awakens sleeping souls. She is proof that when God sets a woman on fire, the world cannot stay the same. Your fire was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to shine. It was meant to lead. It was meant to inspire. There are people watching your journey right now. Not to judge, but to learn how you keep going when life gets hard. They see the storms that tried to drown you, and yet you still stand. They see the pain that tried to silence you, and yet you still speak. They see the setbacks that could have destroyed you, and yet you still rise. That's not just strength, that's inspiration. You've become a living example of endurance. The fire you carry is not ordinary. It is a fire that heals hearts and awakens hope. You may not realize it. Every time you refuse to give up, someone else finds the courage to keep believing. Every time you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, someone watching learns that love is still possible. Every time you rise after being knocked down, someone broken remembers that restoration is real. Your fire doesn't just keep you alive, it lights the way for others to find their way home. There's a generation that needs your flame. There's a hurting soul that needs your testimony. There's a weary heart that needs your courage. Your story, the one filled with both triumph and tears, is the spark that someone else needs to ignite their own. You've gone through what you've gone through, not just for your own growth, but for someone else's awakening. The pain that once felt pointless now has purpose because it's producing light that others can follow. When you walk in your fire, you give permission for others to embrace theirs. Your boldness gives them courage. Your authenticity gives them freedom. Your faith gives them direction. You might not always see it, but your obedience has ripple effects. One act of faith and you can reignite 1,000 others. You are not just carrying a flame, you are carrying legacy. Your fire inspires because it was born from real experience, not perfection, but perseverance. People are not drawn to flawless stories. They are drawn to those who have survived. They are drawn to real, raw, unpolished power. When they see your scars, they don't see weakness, they see wisdom. When they hear your testimony, they don't hear pain, they hear purpose. The authenticity of your fire is what draws others to it. You have become a lighthouse for souls lost at sea. You stand tall in the midst of darkness, and your glow becomes their guide. You don't chase attention, you attract transformation. You don't seek followers, you build faith. Because your fire doesn't compete, it completes. It completes the circle of healing that starts with one life touched by God's power and extends to countless others who witness it. Your fire teaches others that resilience is possible. It tells them that no matter how broken life becomes, God can still bring beauty from ashes. It shows them that even in seasons of loss, there is purpose waiting to be revealed. You are proof that darkness cannot win. Not when a heart chooses to burn with light. You are proof that surrender doesn't make you weak. It makes you unstoppable. Every time you stand in your truth, you fan the flames in others. Every time you share your story without shame, you set captives free from theirs. Every time you walk boldly in your calling, you challenge others to do the same. Your fire has a multiplying effect. It doesn't just stay with you, it spreads. Fire cannot help but spread when it burns pure. That's why your life is changing others even when you don't see it. There are women who will rise because you refuse to stay down. There are men who will believe again because your faith did not fail. There are children who will grow up knowing strength because they watch you walk through fire with grace. You may think you're just surviving. Heaven is using every step you take as a message of hope. The fire you carry was never about you alone. It's about the ones who will come after you. It's about the ones who are still trapped in their own pain, waiting for a glimpse of light to show them that healing is possible. You are that glimpse. You are that flame. You are that spark of divine encouragement that tells the world, if she made it, maybe I can too. Sometimes your fire will make people uncomfortable because it exposes what's cold around them. But don't dim your light for anyone. Don't apologize for your glow. Some people are not threatened by your fire, they're convicted by it. Your courage confronts their fear. Your passion reveals their complacency. Your faith challenges their doubt. That's what fire does. It purifies, it confronts, it transforms. And if your fire unsettles the darkness in others, it's doing exactly what it was meant to do. Never forget, fire doesn't speak. It shows. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply burns. So you don't have to defend your calling. Just live it. You don't have to convince anyone of your purpose. Just walk in it. Let your consistency preach louder than your words. Let your endurance be your sermon. Let your joy in hard times be your declaration that God is real and his power is unshakable. Your fire inspires because it's not based on convenience. It's based on covenant. You didn't light this flame by yourself. God did. And because he lit it, it will not go out. You don't need to force it. Fake it. Fuel it with human strength. Just stay connected to the source and your light will never dim. The more time you spend in his presence, the brighter your fire becomes. The more you surrender to his will, the stronger your glow shines in a world desperate for light. And as your fire grows, others will catch it. Revival starts with one heart fully ignited. It spreads when others see that it's possible to burn and not be consumed. It multiplies when people witness faith in action, love without limits, and peace that surpasses understanding. That's what your life represents, the possibility of divine fire in human form. You are not just surviving the flames, you are redefining what it means to live through them. Your fire is your ministry, it's your message, it's your movement. Every smile after sorrow, every victory after loss, every prayer after disappointment, it all tells the world that God's light still shines through broken vessels. So let your fire burn boldly. Let it speak hope where there's despair. Let it bring warmth to the cold-hearted, clarity to the confused, and courage to the fearful. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. Just keep burning with authenticity, love, and faith. Your fire is already enough. When the world sees you glowing with grace, steady in storms, radiant in resilience, they will know it's not by might nor by power, by the Spirit of the living God within you. You are the spark that sets souls ablaze, the flame that refuses to fade, the living proof that divine fire can live inside human hearts. Your fire inspires others, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. It reminds the world that even in darkness, light still wins. And as long as you keep burning, others will find their way home to the same God who lit you in the first place. There's a reason the attacks against you have been relentless. There's a reason the enemy keeps trying to hit you from every direction. Your faith, your family, your peace, your purpose. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're dangerous. The enemy fears your resilience. He fears your ability to get up after every fall. He fears your strength to keep moving when everything in your life says stop. He fears the fire that won't go out, the hope that won't die, praise that rises from your pain. You've been through too much not to see it. Hell has studied you. The enemy has watched your patterns, your breaking points, your moments of vulnerability, and still can't figure out why you keep standing. You face betrayal, loss, and disappointment. Somehow your spirit refuses to quit. That's what terrifies him. He expected the last storm to silence you, but it only made you louder. He expected the heartbreak to harden you, but it made you holier. He expected the pressure to crush you, but it produced power. Your resilience is spiritual warfare. Every time you rise again, you embarrass hell. Every time you worship through tears, you wage war without saying a word. Every time you choose faith over fear, you remind the enemy that he lost long ago. You are not just surviving, you are overcoming. And there's nothing more threatening to darkness than a believer who refuses to give up. The enemy doesn't fear your possessions. He doesn't fear your position. He fears your perseverance, because possessions can be taken, positions can change, perseverance cannot be stolen. It's built, and yours was built through the fire. You earned your resilience the hard way, through nights of crying and days of confusion, through prayers whispered when you had no words left, through pain that forced you to grow when you didn't want to. That kind of strength doesn't come easy, and that's why it's powerful. You've been hit, not held down. You've been wounded, but not destroyed. You've been delayed, but not denied. There's a tenacity in your spirit that keeps pulling you forward, even when your mind says you can't take anymore. That's divine endurance. That's heaven's training. God built you for survival, but not just to survive, to thrive. You are proof that grace can stand where strength falls short. What the enemy doesn't understand is that every attack he's launched against you has only worked against him. Every time he tried to weaken you, you got wiser. Every time he tried to distract you, you got more disciplined. Every time he tried to discourage you, you discovered a deeper level of faith. The very things that were supposed to destroy you have developed you. You've been refined, not ruined, strengthened, not shattered. Resilience is not the absence of pain. It's the ability to move through it without losing your identity. It's the decision to keep believing when the evidence says you shouldn't. It's standing tall with trembling hands, knowing that your strength doesn't come from your situation, but from your Savior. It's understanding that you might bend, but you will not break. That's why the enemy can't stand you, because he's thrown everything at you, and yet you're still standing, still smiling, still serving, still shining. You see, resilience is your divine weapon. It confuses your enemies. They expected you to give up, and yet you're praising. They expected you to fall apart, and yet you're flourishing. They expected you to be bitter, and yet you're blessing others. Your resilience makes no sense in the natural realm because it's fueled by supernatural grace. The more life knocks you down, the stronger your comeback becomes. The enemy's worst nightmare is not your failure, it's your recovery. Because every time you recover, you return wiser, stronger, and more dangerous. You come back with lessons learned, with deeper faith, with greater clarity. You come back carrying fire. The devil fears that fire. He fears what happens when a woman realizes she's unbreakable in the hands of God. He fears what happens when you discover that every trial was training. Your resilience exposes his weakness, because if you can still worship after warfare, if you can still smile after sorrow, if you can still stand after storms, then it means his weapons don't work. He's tried to intimidate you, isolate you, and discourage you. But the truth remains, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. He's tried to shut you up, but all he's done is push you closer to your calling. He's tried to bury you, but didn't realize you were a seed. You are dangerous because you don't just survive battles, you learn from them. You come out sharper, wiser, and more intentional. You've learned how to recognize distractions. You've learned how to silence doubt. You've learned how to rest in God's timing instead of rushing into your own. That's why your resilience is more powerful than any attack, because it's not just instinct, it's insight. You've been through enough to know that God always has a plan, even when you can't see it. Resilience is not loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It shows up quietly, consistently, faithfully. It's the quiet strength that keeps you steady when life gets loud. It's the inner peace that says, I've been here before, and I know who holds my future. It's the silent power that walks through chaos with calm because you've learned that panic doesn't change outcomes. Prayer does. The enemy fears that. He fears a woman who prays instead of panics. He fears a woman who praises instead of complains. He fears a woman who, even when she's weary, still whispers, "It is well." Because that woman is unstoppable. She knows her strength doesn't come from her own might, but from God's Spirit. She's learned that endurance is not built in comfort, but in conflict. And every trial she faces only tightens her grip on faith. You've been underestimated, overlooked, and even misunderstood, but it hasn't stopped you. That's the mark of resilience, the ability to keep walking even when no one applauds you, the strength to keep building even when no one believes in you, the courage to keep loving even after being hurt. You've mastered the art of rising quietly and moving forward with grace. That's what makes you powerful beyond measure. The enemy fears your resilience because it's contagious. Every time you rise, someone else finds the courage to rise too. Your perseverance gives others permission to hope again. Your strength awakens faith in those who thought they were finished. Your fire lights torches in hearts that had grown cold. You are not just surviving for yourself, you are paving the way for others to see that survival is possible. Don't let the attacks make you doubt your worth. The warfare around you is proof of the power within you. Hell doesn't waste time on the harmless. The level of your opposition reveals the weight of your assignment. If the attacks have been heavy, it's because your destiny is massive. The enemy fears what will happen when you fully realize just how unstoppable you are. You've already outlasted storms that were meant to destroy you. You've already walked through fire and come out refined. You've already proven that you are not fragile. You are forged. So lift your head, woman of resilience. You are the proof that divine strength can dwell in human flesh. You are the evidence that God still raises warriors from broken places. The enemy fears your resilience because it reminds him of something he lost. Power. You walk in power, you speak with authority, you move with divine confidence. And no matter what he tries, he cannot steal that from you because your resilience is not rooted in what you've done. It's rooted in who God is. You've been built by the battles you've endured, and your strength now speaks louder than your scars. You've proven that you can bend and not break, cry and still conquer, fall and still rise. You are a living declaration that grace wins every time. So don't be surprised when the enemy comes harder. It's just proof that he's afraid. Afraid of your persistence, afraid of your praise, afraid of your purpose. Because he knows the truth. No matter what he does, you will rise again. You were not created to blend in. You were not designed to simply exist, survive, or take up space. You were born to shift atmospheres, to challenge complacency, to awaken sleeping souls, and to ignite change wherever your feet tread. There is divine fire in you that refuses to stay silent. You were not made to be ordinary. You were crafted by the creator of the universe to bring light into dark places and transformation into broken spaces. You were born to ignite change. The moment God breathed life into you, he placed purpose in your spirit. That purpose is not passive. It is powerful. It's not meant to be hidden. It's meant to burn. Every gift you carried, every experience you've endured, every trial you've survived, all of it has been shaping the flame within you. You are not the result of coincidence. You are the manifestation of divine intention. You were not made just to go through life. You were made to bring life. Igniters are not born in comfort. They are shaped in conflict. The fire within you was not sparked in moments of ease, but in moments of opposition. Every time you faced rejection and chose to rise anyway, your fire grew brighter. Every time you were overlooked but stayed faithful, your flame deepened. Every time you were broken but kept believing, you added fuel to your destiny. You are not just a survivor. You are a spark sent by heaven to set transformation in motion. Change never starts in the crowd. It starts in the courageous. It starts with someone willing to stand alone, to walk by faith, to believe when others doubt. You've been called to challenge patterns, break cycles, and build what has never existed before. That's why your path hasn't looked like anyone else's. That's why you've had to walk through seasons that others couldn't understand. Because world changers are refined differently. Trailblazers are built through trials. You had to be set apart because you were never meant to fit in. There's a world waiting for the light you carry. There are hearts waiting for your words, minds waiting for your ideas, and generations waiting for your obedience. Your yes has the power to open doors for others. Your courage can shift the destiny of families. Your fire can light torches that have been burning low for too long. You are not insignificant. You are instrumental. Heaven entrusted you with influence, not for recognition, but for revolution. When God created you, he placed within you a divine DNA of change. That's why you can't stay still when you see injustice. That's why you can't stay silent when you see suffering. That's why you can't settle for mediocrity, because something in your spirit knows you were made for more. You don't just feel the world's pain. You carry a burden to do something about it. That burden isn't weakness. It's your calling. It's your fire demanding to be released. Change is uncomfortable, and so is the call to ignite it. You'll face resistance. People may not understand your fire. Some will call it too much. Others will try to extinguish it. But don't let their fear of your flame make you question your purpose. Fire isn't meant to please everyone. It's meant to purify everything. Your calling will always disrupt comfort zones, because true change requires shaking foundations. The same fire that warms hearts also refines gold. You were never meant to wait for permission to burn. The world doesn't need more permission seekers. It needs more purpose carriers. You don't have to ask to be who you already are. You don't need validation to walk in divine vision. God didn't give you fire for decoration. He gave it to you for demonstration. You are here to show the world what faith looks like in motion, what perseverance looks like under pressure, and what love looks like in action. The change you're called to ignite doesn't always happen in grand stages or massive crowds. Sometimes it begins in the smallest places, in your home, your community, your workplace, or even in the quiet of your own heart. The fire that starts within you will naturally spread around you. The transformation you embody will become the transformation others encounter. People will begin to heal because your presence carries peace. They'll begin to believe again because your story proves survival. You don't just talk about hope. You are hope in motion. There's a difference between noise and impact. Noise fades, but impact lingers. When you move in alignment with God, your life begins to echo in eternity. Every act of kindness, every step of faith, every word of encouragement becomes a spark in someone else's soul. You don't need to shout to make a difference. Your obedience speaks volumes. The world doesn't need louder voices, it needs brighter lights. Change igniters don't wait for perfect conditions. They move when God says move. They understand that the fire inside them is greater than the fear outside them. You may not have it all figured out, but your faith is enough to start. You may feel inadequate, but remember, God never calls the qualified. He qualifies the called. Every insecurity, every scar, every failure has been redeemed to fuel your purpose. Your weakness doesn't disqualify you. It proves that the fire within you is divine. Care enough. You've been through battles that were meant to bury you, but they birthed boldness instead. You've faced trials that were supposed to silence you, but they taught you how to roar. You've walked through flames and realized they didn't consume you. They refined you. Now you carry an authority that can't be faked. You've earned your fire, and the world needs what's in you. When you decide to walk fully in your calling, you become a mirror of heaven on earth. You start living from purpose instead of pressure. You stop chasing acceptance and start chasing impact. You stop waiting for doors to open and start realizing that you are the door. Everywhere you go, you carry light, and that light breaks chains, heals hearts, and reveals truth. You were created to be a catalyst, not just to adapt to change, but to create it. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is fire. Ordinary accepts things as they are. Extraordinary sees them as they could be. And you, beloved, are extraordinary. You are a carrier of divine innovation. You are a vessel of transformation. You are heaven's answer to someone's darkness. Never underestimate what your obedience can spark. Prayer can shift an atmosphere. One act of forgiveness can heal generations. One step of faith can birth revival. God has placed in you a fire that will touch people you may never even meet. Your life will echo in the stories of those who were inspired by your courage. The enemy will always try to convince you that your fire is small, that your impact is meaningless, that your voice doesn't matter. But here's the truth. Even a single spark can start a wildfire. Even a single flame can pierce the darkest night. You are that flame. The light in you is unstoppable, so don't hide. Don't shrink. Don't apologize for the intensity of your purpose. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to stand out. You weren't made to go along. You were made to go ahead. You weren't created to blend with the crowd. You were created to ignite the world. Everywhere you go, let your fire testify. Let your love break barriers. Let your faith set others free. Let your strength awaken sleeping hearts. And when people ask why you burn so brightly, you can smile and say, because I was created to. You are not random. You are not accidental. You are divine fire wrapped in human form. You are the spark heaven sent to a world that's forgotten how to feel warmth. You are the light that proves darkness never wins. You were created to ignite change, not later, not someday, but now.